All right, so we are going to be speaking first with Holis in Houston, who wants to talk about how religion has hindered his sexuality. Hollis, you are on with Megan, Christy, and Darrel.
Oh, hi. How are you doing today?
Good. You wanted to talk to us about how religion has hindered your sexuality?
Yes. I was in the evangelical church for just about 37 years.
Mm-hmm.
I was in the church for 37 years. And, of course, it started out as Pentecostal holiness, then went to evangelical, charismatic. But the underlying theme is sex outside of marriage was a no-no.
Mm-hmm.
And now that I've left the church, and I'm not say atheist, I'm just having trouble dealing with my sexuality because of all of the kind of taboos associated with it, to the point where I get triggered if I see like sex scenes in movies. Sometimes I just walk out if possible. And trying to form relationships hasn't been too great. I was in a same-sex relationship for a while, but I am bi. Opposite sex hasn't been very successful. So yeah, just putting that out there. Religion does have a very negative aspect on sexuality. Look at what's going on in the Mormon church with this fellow getting excommunicated because he was speaking out against the interviews
Of the
men and women, and then the scandal going on in the Catholic Church, especially this newest revelations in Pennsylvania. So I'm just trying to sort things out. And so I'm just basically trying to sort things out. My mild Asperger's syndrome was also throwing that into the mix, but I'm pretty much trying to get that worked out. But the sexuality part is still kind of,
Yeah, when you say working out, can you tell me what that looks like?
I'm sorry?
When you say, your sexuality hasn't really been working out, what does that actually look like? What does that mean for you?
Just trying to have a relationship with, just trying to have a meaningful relationship. And this case was a woman, because I have been in a relationship with men. Women have worked out too well. Just, normalizing how I do sex. I still kind of get, like I said, triggered when I see it. If it's not, pornography. So, basically, it's just kind of all really jumbled up.
Have you looked into seeing a therapist at all?
Yes. See a therapist. We kind of scratched the surface of that. It has improved. It has basically gotten better.
That's good.
As far as me finally accepting the fact that I am bi. So that's worked out. But as far as starting another relationship with, either the same or the opposite sex, still, running into some hurdles, but it's better than it was before, but, problems still there.
In your work with the therapist, is this therapist knowledgeable about teaching the skills that you need from the Asperger's? I'm speaking mainly from Asperger's perspective.
Yes. We had to end it because I was in Utah at the time and had to move to Texas. So I haven't started seeing another therapist yet, but we were on the verge of starting to do the Asperger's part of that before I had to move. but from what we were able to do, it did help out a great deal.
Good, because that would be the first place you'd want to look at, is how you develop the skills that would lead to where you want to go. And if that was where the therapist was starting, you have plans to find somebody in Houston area?
Yes.
Okay. Well, you do know about the Secular Therapy Project, and I think you'd find somebody there if you don't already have somebody.
Yeah. Yes, I have heard about that from the Atheist Experience, and I believe the Thinking Atheist with St. Andrews.
Yep.
Right.
And
It's true that religion really does screw up your perceptions. What have what you gained? How do you feel like you've changed? Or, I know you're not satisfied with where you're at, but where do you think you've improved or you've become less?
Less awkward, a lot less orientated towards guilt, a little more open, slightly more, I guess, experienced on cues. When somebody's just being friendly or somebody's being a little more than friendly, a little better on that on cues. So in that area, it has improved a lot.
Good. I'm glad to hear that.
So, Holis,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. I was just going to say, did you have any specific questions for us today? Because it sounds like you are making progress, and I think finding a new therapist, definitely easier to do through the Secular Therapy Project would probably be a really good idea.
Yeah, and then doing what you're doing. Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but, watching shows like this, listening to different, there are so many great podcasts and so many great sources of information. And honestly, just sitting.
Exposure.
Yeah, exactly. Getting the exposure of those different things can really help to lessen some of that. You mentioned feeling triggered by sexuality in a lot of ways. And, when you're watching a movie and it gets really intense and you start to feel overwhelmed by it, I recognize how uncomfortable that can be. And I wouldn't say to ever rush towards a negative feeling like that. But watching those sorts of movies in a comfortable way, watching shows like this one, to the degree that you feel comfortable doing so, can really help to sort of soften the edges.
Okay, that sounds good. That sounds good. And I also. Two more things, because I know you have other callers. The other two things is this. Yes, I, like a lot of other people, I do have a foot fetish, along with, I guess a whole lot of other people do that, so that I'm not, too... And also, I don't know if you're aware of the YouTube creator ContraPoints. I just want to give a shout out to her because she kind of went through the same thing, but hers was more of gender identity, and she finally decided to transition. And I just want to give a shout out to her because she inadvertently helped me kind of get the courage to kind of deal with this head on, because she basically put it out there on her videos about her story. Identity. So just want to give a shout out to for her and congratulate her for starting to make the transition, because for what she was saying in her video, it was getting pretty bad, but she finally made that move. So I just want to congratulate her on that.
Oh, well, yes, I think anyone making that adjustment in their life to become who they feel they are is always a positive step.
Yeah, and sharing that experience with others and helping people to scaffold and to grow off of that. So, absolutely. Thank you so much for calling in, and we really appreciate everything that you're going through. I hope that things continue to move forward and go well.
All right. Well, thank you, and thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that was, I think, an important conversation to have. Anyone with who can recognize that they have some trouble finding a therapist that they can work with is important. Especially one of the first things, if you move to a new area, one of the most important things I've found to do for myself is to find a new therapist. So
Yes, setting up the cable, the water, the electric, finding
finding
a
the
therapist.
therapist.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely.
yeah.